Ladies and gentlemen, YouTubers around the world, welcome back to another FFA tier list. We have not done one since the new civs got released, but we've played a lot of games now with all the civs, with the new civs a lot too, especially. And I wanted to get this out here. I saw that Corvinus put out an FFA tier list pretty recently, and normally I'm pretty much on point with what with his tier lists in FFA in the past, like maybe one or two disagreements, minor disagreements, but this time there were actually, I think there's a lot more disagreements in from my perspective on what this looks like. So I'm going to talk about those a little bit too. No offense to Corvinus, of course he's like the best FFA player in the world, right? So if anything, what he says should count more than obviously what I think. But he also plays a lot of 1v1. He's a pro gamer, right? And I'm not. I only play FFA though, so I think it's kind of important to have like an undiluted, pure FFA player's perspective because obviously 1v1 is important even in FFA because you're oftentimes fighting one or more other players nearby you early game. You need to know what counters what. You need to understand 1v1, but I think sometimes that can seep through. Like the 1v1 matchups can seep through into someone's perspective and thinking about the game, and I think you need to not think about that in FFA. FFA is way different, right, than any 1v1 game. So let's talk about that without further ado, guys. Let's start with I actually have made some changes in my line of thinking in terms of what's like the best, and I'm gonna take maybe like at least one hot take here. I think it's gonna be this one. I'm gonna start off Japanese S tier. So I've been playing more with the Shinto shrines lately, and I gotta say, like, even if you don't have any gold, even if you're surrounded on all sides, sometimes Japanese can just survive. Like I feel like I can survive with this civ, where I would have long ago been dead with any other civ in this game. That's why I'm gonna put them in S tier. The Shinto shrine. Basically, imagine you can build extra town centers in Castle Age, for way cheaper, and you just like you got to think about it like that, right? Like, you're building economic units, these Shinto priests, but they're the production building's cheaper, so you can get a bunch of them out, and you can just spam them. And I think I can max faster on Japanese than I can with any other civ in the game. You can get the max pop that quickly. Granted, you're not gonna have the biggest military pop, but these Shinto priests are amazing. Not only just the gold generation, the fact that they don't have to mine any resources, they just get passive gold generation, so much of it for free. The only thing it costs is population, but you can use your priest to heal your military. You can use them to do infinite Wololos. You just keep dropping the relic, picking it back up, and your opponents are gonna have such a hard time dealing with that. You can just go insane in Castle Age if you get there with Japanese, and of course you have the town center, which can upgrade, improving your farm economy and making you more durable, like the most durable TC in the game. It's hands down got to be Japanese for me now. It's definitely changed a lot. I've rolled into them a lot playing random recently, and I've just been doing so much better than I would ever have expected, and I think better than I would with any other civ. So that's why they're at the top of the list for now. I'm sure someone will disagree with that, but hey guys, that's why we have opinions, right? So after that, of course, I'm gonna say probably Abbasid. Like they're still really strong. The trash units are insane, and that's what makes them so powerful. Now, maybe you could argue that I'm gonna talk about this later with some of the other civs too. Is the changes to land mega random, right? There's the POIs now on land mega random. There's markets in the corner most of the time. There's just basically means there's more resources and more opportunities to get gold on land mega random, which has been a problem in the past. So that means that not only are civs that were reliant on gold going to be moving up, civs that aren't reliant on gold are either staying the same, or maybe you could say they're moving down a little bit. So there's an argument to be made that Abbasid is farther down the list. So we'll move that after we look at all this. But I want to get everything on the board first and see what we're dealing with. After that, I'm going to say, of course, Zhuxi is obviously insanely strong. Zhuxi in China, I think I'm going to put them up here. They're really, really, really good civs, but they are slow. The downside is they're slow to start. But if you can get them going in a corner or whatever, get the dynasties rolling, you're going to go insane, right? China's really good probably for early aggression. or early defense, and then Jushi just the best probably on mega random map on if there's deep water. This is probably the best civ in the game, I would say. Uh, and then yeah, it's just insane. If you go straight up to castle really fast, you can get the relics. Really good way to play it rather than just corner booming. But alternatively, you can corner boom, go into song, and go crazy from there, right, with the greeneries. So either way you play it, there's two ways to play, I would say, with that. And then China, not quite as powerful dynasties early on, but I guess you have the villagers, right? You have the Song Dynasty villagers. You just go insane, and you can defend with the Barbican, so you're doing pretty well there. It just takes a little bit of SimCity, to build your base properly and understand the game state. I think that these are like, I would put these on like the top tier. If there was like a tier list for difficulty, these would be high up there. But also, once you master them, then they become very, very, very strong. Now, OOTD and HRE. Let's talk about these two civs. So, HRE got the Black Rider. It's a new unit. It's very powerful. If you have a lot of keeps, right? Insanely good unit. So that's going up, right? OOTD has a bug with the crossbow right now, apparently, and that's going to get fixed eventually. We can assume, right? So I'm not going to consider that in here. I'm just going to pretend that doesn't exist, right? If it does exist, it's probably like S tier, whatever, somewhere up here. But since since it's a bug, we're going to pretend that it doesn't matter, right? We're not going to consider it in the tier list. But I think HRE is just a little bit better because of the mine works better now for HRE. OOTD's mine work is kind of like the weaker one now. HRE starts with the prelate, and I think these even though these civs are very relic dependent, they are the civs that can age up the fastest. Maybe Jushi could contest that a little bit, but I think any other civ can't age up as fast as these civs can, right? Like you can't get even though these are very, very, very relic dependent, you're definitely gonna get some relics, almost guaranteed, with these civs. You want to try to build towards the middle of the map, of course, or where the relics are. But I will say, because of this civ, because of Knights Templar, it is harder to get the relics now because Knights Templar can see all the relics that are in the game. So that is going to be a challenge. So maybe we'll put these towards the bottom of A, actually, considering that relics are going to be more contested now with Knights Templar. Yeah. So we'll talk about that with Knights Templar as well. So let's actually talk about the new civs, right? Well, before we do that, let's actually mention, I think some of this is that Corvinus put in the top of S tier was Rus in English, which I am going to put in A tier. I think actually I'm not going to put English in A tier. So I actually, this is one of the things I think I'm going to hard disagree with Corvinus on is, for starters, let's talk about English first, right? English, obviously it's an easy civ to play. You get a lot of easy food from farm economy. You get gold generation in the late game, but to me the gold generation from the farms is not enough. It's not enough to make him S tier. You don't get enough gold. You need to make like 80 plus farms to even get like decent, like a half decent gold economy out of that, I feel like. And it's still not enough, right? Like you're not getting that much gold out of it. You are getting some, of course. It's obviously good. It has some strong landmarks. The white towers are really great landmark in age 3, both defensively and offensively. It's amazing. You've got late game units like the One Guard Ranger, which are insanely powerful now. But I want to show you guys something actually real quick. I'm gonna pull up. Wait, I didn't have this in full screen. My bad. I'm gonna pull up. Is it this one? Yeah. All right. So these are the win rates in FFA since April 22nd. So we have all the civs here, right? We could even do. I don't think I want to go before that. I think these earlier patches are. These are included when Lancaster was like super powerful with the manners. So we're not gonna look at those. But since April 22nd, the latest patch, these are the win rates. And you can see English actually at the bottom. Now, why is that? We're at 1200 rating. Let's take off this. Let's put any rating just so we have a larger pool of games being played. There you go. English is the very, very bottom of the list. Now, why is that? That seems weird, right? I definitely disagree. It's not like a D tier Civ or C tier, whatever this is, like 7% win rate. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see this. There we go. There we go. Okay, so it's definitely not the worst Civ in FFA. I don't. The reason this is here, I think, is because a lot of players play English, and a lot of people who don't know how to play the game pick English. Uh, people who are new to the game, it's like the most commonly picked Civ, right? For new players, that's probably why that's so low. But it's also because I don't think English is very strong in the late game. I mean, it is decent in the late game. It's mid tier, but it's not like the best that there is. I definitely don't think it's the top of S tier, as Corbinus would argue. So yeah, we'll disagree with him there, but that's the reasoning why I don't think the gold generation is good enough. As for Roos, very strong Civ, obviously, insane gold generation, much better I think than English, but I think, and you can get to castle, you can rush castle. I think that's the build you want to go for with Roos. Definitely rush castle, the high trade house, but it's map dependent, right? If you get a really good high trade house, and if you can get these hunting cabins set up properly without having them be destroyed by other players, kind of like Malians with the pit mines, if they can just be run over by their players, I think it makes them a little bit weaker, and that's why I would put Roos a little bit lower, is because you have to kind of expose yourself on the map to being harassed. So we're gonna we'll talk about Malians later, but Roos obviously insanely strong Civ. I think they're pretty good, but you know yeah, they could go here maybe in front of these two civs. Just I mean, because like both of these are, this is going to be depend on your trees. This is going to depend on your relics. But either way, you're depending on something on the map, right? So that's why I think they're kind of not the top, the highest level. Also with Yushi to an extent as well with the meditation garden, it's going to be dependent on your map, and if other players are harassing your meditation garden, that's going to be bad. But I think you can kind of pick and choose where you put the landmark a little bit better. With this one, you can choose to have less resources and put your meditation garden in a safe position, and that'll be fine. Now, let's talk about the new civs. We've been putting those off. Let's get into it. Right, we got House of Lancaster and Knights Templar. House of Lancaster, I'm gonna say, is A tier, and Lancaster is an interesting one. You kind of want to be in the corner of the map, I would say. This is like a corner boom civ, right? You want to get your manners up all in feudal if you can. And then you want to start just going crazy, right? You can pump up in castle and go with a bunch of units. You could get greedy and go to imperial and buff your manor houses even more if you want to get really greedy. If you're completely alone in the corner, that's a good option. But this civ is insane. The one downside of Lancaster, as the coordinates also mentioned, is that the Hobelier, the horseman replacement costs gold, and it's not very good. It's not even as good as a horseman, right? It's kind of like a weak horseman. It kind of reminds me of the Jushi horseman, the Yuan Raider, which is kind of like this weird unit that costs a little bit of gold and doesn't really do much. I think that one at least can kill villagers very quickly, but the Hobelier just doesn't seem to be a very good unit by any means. It's just bad all around. However, they do have regular knights. You can go with that path, but what really shines about, I think, Lancaster is every other unit, right? That's not cavalry. It's you've got the Yeoman, which is like an insanely powerful archer that can do this AOE attack every so often. You've got the Spearman, which I think is underrated, and people don't even consider the fact that it can reduce armor. So you can actually spam Spearman to be like your melee tanking unit, and it can actually fight against kind of like men-at-arms and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy, at least with range support. And your hand cannoneers is actually a lot cheaper, so that's another way to even play. Even I think everyone's using the Yeoman right now, and the hand cannoneer is kind of overlooked because it's you already have your archers, your ranged units with even longer range, but your hand cannoneer is cheaper. Remember that. So if you have a lot of gold, definitely spam your hand cannoneers after you get that upgrade from the House of Learning and Castle, and you're gonna go insane with the hand cannoneer and spears, and that's all you really need, right? Like something like that. Or you can do Yeoman and you could do the or you can do the like the men at arms that throws the dagger, right? Like there's lots of options here for this civ. They've got a lot of units that are great. You got the you want to get the what is the final the Wingard Palace or whatever it's called in this version. In this Civ, it might be called something else. I think it's Wingard still, but it has all these crazy things you can build. You can build a cannon with two Ribalquins, which is insane. You can do a lot of stuff there, like just like the English, Wingard Palace. But there's a lot of options here. There's a lot of great units. Just keep in mind that it's probably not best to go into horses with the Civ, and you're gonna have a lot of passive resource generation. You're gonna be looking really strong as long as you pick a corner with the Civ. Now the other Civ, the Knights Templar, that Civ is going to be. I think there's two ways you can play Knights Templar. Whereas you want a corner boom with Lancaster, Knights Templar. Knights Templar can be played in one of two ways, right? You can choose to go for the sacred sites with the pilgrimage, which you probably want to try to do, regardless. But if there's like one sacred site, if there's two sacred sites and you're kind of in the corner, if you're far away, removed from the map, you may not even bother with the pilgrimage if you see there's somebody in between you or there's someone on the middle already and they're in the way and they're going to be blocking your pilgrimage. That's going to suck for you. It's going to make your Civ probably like C tier instead of B tier or whatever, but it's definitely going to reduce your power level a lot. But you got to remember, there's another way to play this Civ, which is to get passive gold generation, which isn't relying on pilgrims, which is the let's dive into the game real quick here. I wanted to show this. If you go to your I even forgot about it sometimes, but you have the La Lettre de Change, which is an insane thing to have. It's basically you can convert like 4,000 food into like 3,500 gold over a couple of minutes. And if you don't have gold on the map for whatever reason, like you're denied pilgrimage in the late game, this is a way to overcome that. Just get a ton of farms, big farm economy, and you can just, exchange. You can get free gold, right? Like, or not free gold, but you can just exchange your food into gold without a huge loss there. As long as you have a ton of food that you're willing to transfer, you're going to be getting a pretty good return rate. And you can play it that way too. You can play very greedy in the corner. You don't have to rely on pilgrims. This Civ has strong units, but you have to pick and choose what you get. But I think it's pretty obvious. Like you usually want to get the sergeant. He's really strong. You can just spam sergeants the whole game and just delete buildings. They're really strong unit. Probably what you want to do most of the time playing the Civ in FFA is just that. You can, you get access to the heavy spearman, which is pretty strong against horses. You got the Genoese crossbow, which is really strong against a lot of things. It's an amazing, and you also keep in mind you get the imperial upgrade. The university upgrades for this Civ are nuts. You got increase your the power of your crossbows. You got one to increase the power of your light cavalry, so you can go heavy on the knights, and all the knight units are pretty strong too. You can do just Knights Templars or Templar Brothers are pretty strong. Just do a lot of those with the horsemen too. If you get that upgrade, you can increase their armor, make them even stronger. Really good Civ, lots of good units, lots of good options. I probably played them a lot more than Lancaster, just because there's so many unique units and so many ways to play them. I don't think it's even all discovered yet, so the Civ isn't completely figured out. But for now, I'm going to put them kind of as a middle tier Civ, just because they are kind of map dependent with the pilgrimage. If you want to get gold in the early game, get your gold scaling in the early game, it can be very dependent on whether or not you have access. So sometimes I like to build pretty close to the middle of the map, because I found that the pilgrimage seems to have like a max gold that it can even get. So if you're really far in the corner, you actually are not getting that much more gold than if you just build like pretty close to the sacred site. You're only getting a little bit less gold, but you have a lot easier access and you can defend it better. However, sometimes, if there's a lot of other Knight Templars players, if there's OOTD, if there's HRE players, you probably don't want to even bother with trying to contest the middle, right? You probably just want to go in your corner and play the secondary way that I was talking about, where you end up in the late game trading for gold instead of trying to, if you're still blocked on the pilgrimage. But you might clear them out and then open up access to pilgrims later in the game, which can net you a lot of gold later on. But it is, of course, very map dependent, so that's why they're going to be down here in B, is just because I think they need to be figured out more, and it's map dependent, right? Now, let's see what else. What have we not talked about here? There's another Civ that I really wanted to discuss, which Corvinus, I think he put it in A tier, like he really boomed it up. But I'm not going to do that, guys. Aubid. Okay, so this is one of the civs that definitely improved because of land maker random changes. Like there's more access to gold, right? With POIs, with corner markets, there's more chances for you to be able to keep your gold economy pumping and not have to utilize their useless trash units. However, this civ is still just it's very very mid. It's very I wanted to talk about another way you can play them now though, which is instead of so normally we're going to be going up with the dervishes in feudal, right? But in the past we've always chosen this one typically, or military if you need to get units out right away. But typically you go into growth. But however, now there's this one that had added the villagers build 40% faster and gives you 800 food, 400 stone. So you could get, instead of getting 7 vills here, you could get resources for an extra TC and also build those TCs faster. For me, I think Corbin just talked a little bit about this. He said it was really strong, but for me, having the faster build time, I think, is really strong. Like on Chinese early game, like when you need to build a tower, when you need to rush a tower up or rush your Barbican up, can be very, very powerful. But I just don't see the value of getting faster build time later in the game. I mean, obviously, it's going to help a little bit with your TCs or whatever you're trying to build here, but I just don't. I don't see that as a huge value gain, right? Like late game, it's just a few seconds, right? Who cares? However, I think this is probably like the one you want to start trying. I haven't really played around with it much myself, but yeah, definitely do this one. Abe is definitely stronger because of like the changes to land mega random. Maybe you could say they're B tier, but I definitely wouldn't put them anywhere near A tier. They wouldn't be touching A tier for me. You got the 2 landmarks that can be easily killed. Same with Abbasid, of course, but Abbasid, of course, with the trash units, they have a lot of ways that you can extra town centers, eco ring spam. You can play them on water. I'd say both Abbasid and Zushi are the 2 strongest water civs. Actually, I would also put Abbasid up there because of going into Culture Wing. Right away, you just get insanely powerful Castle Boom. Yeah, so those civs are just nuts. Now that we talked about that, I think another thing I haven't really played around with much with Aubit, I started to test it out more, is you can go into, same with Abbasid, you can go into a age 5, right? Like you can get another age up, and oftentimes I think we forget about that, or it's not doesn't seem worth it because you're gonna have to pay for it again, like another 2400 wood and 1200 gold. But there's some good ones, like you can get the dervishes, the guys that boost your camels up. You put them in, like you get 7 of them, put them in the stables or the archery ranges, boost up your camels, and then you can also get the resource trade option as well in the trade wing. So there's different options there. Keep that in mind if you're playing a late game with Aubid. There's extra age ups, right? And especially if there's a land mega random trade, like both of these civs can probably benefit from the trade wing now, right? More so with the corner markets. Now, French and Jeanne d'Arc. Let's talk about those civs. So French, I think French is still really strong. I'm gonna put them. Hmm. I think they're going up here actually. Like they're a cavalry civ, right? They're a very strong cavalry civ, very strong economy, faster villager production, cheaper economic upgrades, amazing. Jeanne d'Arc is gonna go right below in B. I think they're both really strong because they're both cavalry civs, right? Jeanne d'Arc can harass early a nearby player if you have a problem with them, but it can also open you up to getting attacked because players are going to be very annoyed by this. So I think it's a double-edged sword with Jeanne d'Arc. It can go both ways. Like you can get some. I've actually killed. I might put Jeanne d'Arc above French actually. Lately, I've been killing. Like I had one game where I killed like 2 players right away just because of Jeanne d'Arc and a couple of knights, right? Like she can go crazy if people are trying to harvest like deer or whatever, like farther away from their town center. You can just instantly start popping vills, and because of that, I think in FFA it's very valuable. But you just have to keep in mind, if you just piss off too many different players, like you start harassing like multiple players, don't do that. Just focus on one player to harass, I would say, at a time. Kill them, move on to the next one, right? Don't just start harassing and trying to level up Jeanne d'Arc and pissing off all the players around you, because then you're just going to create multiple enemies and you're going to lose, right? So you just have to be careful when you play that civ. All right. So What else do we have here now? Ottomans are very strong late game. Of course, they've got better better landmarks, better vizier point upgrades, like we talked about last time, I think. So they're still pretty good, very strong late game, strong gunpowder units, strong, great bombards. They're great late game. But I think, yeah, we'll add Malians in Delhi here too. Delhi also, they've gotten the elephants nerfed. I'm gonna put them all here with Ottomans actually, both these civs. So I think there's many civs in this game that have very powerful late games, uh, or very powerful economies, but a lot of them are very slow. And I want to talk about this real quick. So, like Jushi, China, um, yeah, Jushi, China, maybe Lancaster a little bit, and these three civs here in particular, they're gonna be slow to get going. Like this, you're gonna need the military schools and the blacksmiths, and they need time to pump the units out. Delhi, obviously you need to get all the scholars, you need to get all the research going, all the buildings going. You want to try to go straight to Imperial with this civ if you can. Uh, so very very slow civ, but very strong late game. And then this civ as well, you need to get all the pit mines out. You need to get all the cow booms going, right, to get their economy really rolling, and that takes a lot of time. They're slow, so that can be a blessing and a curse, right? If you actually can do it, if you can pull it off without getting attacked, great. If you're in the corner or whatever, it's amazing, right? But if you do get attacked, these are all very vulnerable, right? Like, you kind of have to be aware. You need to scout what's around you. You need to make sure that, you're not going to be attacked, so that you can pull off the economy that you need, the transition to the late game that you need. So we've talked about them before. Delhi, I think probably the slowest one here, but also one of the strongest ones late game. So I never liked the elephants anyway, so the elephants don't matter to me. But I think they're just a little bit slow, like these civs, right? A little bit slow. I think I'm probably underrating Delhi because I'm not very good with them, but I do all right. I think maybe I should actually put them in A. Come to think of it, I'll put them here. Yeah, it's kind of bad to put them in, I think, B tier. Probably Ottomans as well could go here, and then yeah, we'll leave Malians in B. There we go. That looks better. Now, that's because the very powerful late games both these civs have makes them very strong. Now the last two civs we'll be talking about here. I've always liked Mongols and I've played them a lot, so I'm a Mongol enjoyer, and I'm not gonna put them in D because I think they have potential. They always do with the raiding. If you can raid somebody's buildings, there's always going to be a dead player in the lobby, right? You can raid their buildings, get a bunch of resources, and that's always worth it. With the OVO next to the TC is really good. Build your TC on stone, either your first TC or your expansion TC, right next to the OVO. Get those extra vills out basically for free, and you're going to be doing good with Mongols, even though they obviously have some glaring weaknesses with the towers, with the keeps not existing, or with the walls and the keeps not existing. The towers can be a very good defense if you upgrade them in Imperial, and you get those cannon emplacements. They can just shred, So try to get, I would say, with Mongols, try to get some relics, or some kind of gold, income, whatever it is. If you get a step redoubt and you're just mining all the gold up on the map, or you're able to get some relics, that's very nice because you want more and more stone, right? You want it, and you want to get the white stupa if you can. Obviously, getting the other landmark is nice. I'm blanking on the name of it right now, but getting those units every so often, but it gives you random units, and if you rush up to Imperial, you can use it, but it's really, I think if you want to go for the win for the long game, go for the white stupa. That's really, you're getting all those stone upgrades on the ovos and stuff is going to be very 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 important. Now, so we don't get to 30 minutes here on this video, I'm going to quickly talk about Byzantine. I'm actually going to put these in the bottom here for me. This is obviously, I think, a personal thing for me. I'm not very good with the civ. I've never have been. It's I think it's my lowest win rate civ in FFA. It just doesn't work out for me most of the time, even though they do have obviously the olive oil, the economy they have. So they have that like free economy that a lot of makes a lot of these civs strong in FFA. And they do have a lot of different paths you can take. It definitely that's something I need to practice more. But for me, they just don't seem to work out a lot of the time. People come in and they kill my aqueducts. They definitely made some weird changes so that it's cheaper now to get all 5 of your aqueducts, and also with the POIs, you can definitely get the stone one, and it'll definitely help you as Byzantine. But I still think this for me, this is the worst civ in the game right now, and I don't know what it needs to improve it, but it definitely needs something. Like it's just lacking in a little bit of everything, right? Like to me, it just needs to be a little bit stronger to be a little more viable, and hopefully they'll change some things. I kind of want to go check now. Let's go take a look back over to uh, the win rates. We were looking at these earlier. Byzantine is one of the lower ones overall, so most people probably wouldn't put them at the very bottom. Uh, but they are one of the lower ones for sure. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for this tier list. I think we've talked about everything that I wanted to discuss. There's not much else to talk about here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know if you have any questions, comments about the tier list. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.